Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start today's video, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, I do hope your day is going way better than fantastic and your journey to self-betterment is going way better than fantastic as well. Today I wanted to talk about something very important. A topic that was brought up in the comments section in one of my last videos. And it's a question that was asked. Do you get relief or is there relief when your narcissist parent or parents die? This is a very important question. And a very important thing to talk about. And it's actually something very personal that hits home. As I mentioned in my last video, this comment hits home with something I really do need to talk about with you all. And something that I've kept to myself. My narcissist mother did really pass away not that long ago. Long enough for me to get some distance to talk about. But not too long ago either. And I think I waited to talk about this. Because I wanted to see if how I would feel about things would change over time. And over the course of healing. You see, how you might feel about things might greatly depend on how you feel about your narcissist mother or father. And here's the thing. You might feel a combination of emotions and feelings. Here's the thing I've said time and time again. If you are on the journey to healing, and these people if they are still living are in no way in your life. But you have come to a place of forgiveness. Not saying what happened to you was okay or right. Because what happened to us all was evil. Complete and utter evil. But you've come to a place where you no longer want to walk around with their emotional weight on you anymore. And you have gotten rid of this weight through forgiveness. I say, if that is you, please don't let people tell you that you must not forgive and that because of these evil deeds your narcissist parent or parents did to you, you must never forgive them. If you have forgiven them, and that has helped you on your journey to heal, then that is your personal thing. And nobody else's. Just the same if you think and believe the opposite. There is no forgiveness. There is no nothing. And you can get on with your journey to self-betterment just the same. Then that is your own personal thing as well. I say that because for me, I felt and I still feel a combination of both feelings of relief and sadness. You see, my mother was abused much like we all were. And at a young age, the switch got flipped on her to be who and what she became. Would she have ended up like what she became had she grown up in a home with love and care? I truthfully don't know. However, I do know she would have stood a better of a chance. I believe these types of problems are rooted in a combination of things. One being genetics. I think there are some people that just feel deeper than others. They've always been like that. They always will be like that. And there are others that aren't so in tune with such strong loves and emotions. It's my belief if you take someone that is born in the way that doesn't naturally have those strong attachments, and you put them in a home where they are abused emotionally and in other ways at the very start of their lives, you have a high chance in my humble cartoon opinion of getting a narcissist or sociopath or psychopath on your hands. There was a brain doctor I talked about many years ago on this channel. If you look up the story you will be able to find this clip of him. And basically he studied the brain of horrible people and killers and those like that. And more times than not, he found certain markers in the brain so to speak that occurred more times than not in these people. Then out of curiosity he had his brain scanned and he noticed the exact same markers on his brain that was that of the psychopaths he studied. He was shocked, amazed and concerned. He then spoke to his grandmother, the woman that raised him. A woman that raised him with love and kindness. And she shared with him some news clippings of his either grandfather or great-grandfather, or someone in the family along those lines. I can't remember. However, this close relative was a psychopath who snapped and killed his family that was in the house that day. And then I think there might have been others in this family that exhibited such psychopathic traits as well. So how come this doctor was a decent and loving man? How come he didn't turn out to be an evil monster? Well, first off, this doctor was able to finally put his finger on why certain things didn't scare him that scared the average person. And certain things didn't bother him that might bother the average person. Simply because of his genetic makeup. But he concluded that the reason why he turned out so good was because he was not just raised in a home with love, but he was raised in a home with lots of love. Now, there are times I believe that there is nothing you can do. I believe there are certain situations where possibly a parent's child doesn't get the correct genetics, and from day one the child is a problem and the parents do all they can only to have their child spiral out of control. However, in my humble cartoon opinion, though I do believe that scenario happens, I believe it's a lot more rare. A lot more rare than when the child gets the bad or wrong genetics. And 2. They are being parented by a parent with the same bad genetics in the same toxic, manipulative and abusive manner. And I do believe if a child with possibly such bad genetics from birth is raised by a loving parent or parents, they stand a shot. A real decent shot. At becoming someone that can love. And that is decent. They might still have a few dull spots in their thinking, but they will be someone that knows right from wrong. And someone that has emotions and feelings based on that right and wrong. Another video I've talked about. The Iceman Part 2 documentary with the psychopath killer that was being interviewed in prison by a real-life FBI doctor. And at the end of the documentary, this doctor rendered his diagnosis. And quite simply he stated he was both born and made. And though he had these bad genetics, they didn't have to be bad per se. If he had the right kind of parenting, if he was parented properly, he might have grown up to become a fighter jet pilot, or a firefighter, or something that commanded a strict dial-in of his emotions and having control, or and even a dull spot regarding fear. But with good parenting, he might have been able to hold such jobs, while being a loving, caring father and husband. The problem was he was abused really bad by his mother and father. People that shared his genetics and people that shared in the abuse, as likely they were abused when they were children as well. Why is this important in this topic? I realized that I likely, and you likely, won the genetic lottery for feeling deeply. To feel love. And to want to love. Whereas our golden child siblings likely didn't. And our narcissist parent or parents likely didn't. And the one thing that made the big difference was abuse. You see, I watched my mother die. I literally watched her stop functioning. She hung on for a few days when it was getting down to the wire and the end of her life. I cried in the lobby of the hospital. I cried in my car. I never got this woman's love. And she never had it to give. I never had a normal moment with her. Yet she spent her life going from one lie to the next. From one manipulation to the next. And then I felt incredibly sorry for her. There she is. Unconscious. And it's a matter of time. She's going to die. And she can't fix anything. She can't say she's sorry. Though I know she would never do that. Quite frankly, if she had a chance to do what she did to me and my golden child brother again, she would do even worse the second go around. But I sat there thinking, what a waste. Her time here is up. It's up and over. It's done. And all she did was ruin people's lives. And most importantly, she ruined her own life. But again, what was the germ of it all? Abuse. Narcissistic abuse. Had some twist of fate had happened where she was left to live with another relative from birth. An honest relative. A decent relative. I likely would have gotten a completely different mother. A mother I could be proud of. A mother that loved me. And a mother that I could have loved differently, I think, is a good way to put it. Because just like I said, don't let anyone make you feel bad because you loved one of these people. Now for the record, I do not love Susie at all. In no form or way. But I did love my mother. I was no contact for many years. However, towards the last handful of years of her life, I was low to moderate contact. And the literal last few years she was literally no threat. I used that time to get some amount of closure. I knew I would never get answers. I knew I would never get an "I'm sorry." So the few times I would interact with her, I would keep it to things that didn't matter. And pretended like there wasn't a problem. Sometimes I would just sit by her medical bed and just sit there. Just sit there. I didn't want my anger to get the best of me to say, "Hey, forget this evil woman. She ruined my life." Because I seriously believed that's what she believed would happen with me. However, what did happen is that's how my golden child brother took things and behaved. He was never there and basically was bitter and angry at everyone. So much so he wasn't there when she passed away. That's right. The son she built up to be the golden child. The son she turned into scapegoat. And then make him the golden child again. The one that she put above her other son, the real scapegoat, myself, was nowhere to be found when she took her last breath. And was nowhere to be found when each month her life was slipping away. But here's the thing. Even that I understand. Because when I was younger, I was hoping to be way away from my family. Which because I was no contact for many years. But I was still in the same area. Let's say no more than an hour away. And at times towards the end it turned into control low contact. I did that for myself. But my brother, my golden child brother, was just filled to the brim with anger. My brother doesn't have a normal life. He doesn't function in society as well as I do. And despite our problems, I really mean that. The doctors that have seen him basically have concluded his mind state is irreversible. Which is at least what I heard from a reliable source. A family member that was able to get out much like I did. But from a generation before me. Was able to decode what my brother was telling him and figured out what was truly meant. And it's true. My brother is so brainwashed he's gone. He's gone. And yes. Do I still get angry at that? You betcha. When I screamed in my car the other week. That was one of the things I was screaming about. Though he was and is my golden child brother. Which I might add, I have no contact with him. I know he wasn't just born like that. He was made. The same as my mother. So forth and so on. So did I feel relief? Yes. Yes. There was part of me that did. If I meet a good woman in my life, I no longer have to feel like I have to explain why I can't introduce them to my mother. I can date them. And if it really becomes serious and I have vetted them, I can possibly tell them a bit of my situation. But that would have to be a very special woman in my life for that to happen. But yes, I no longer have that in my life where I feel like I have to hide my situation with my mother anymore. And I will tell you, my mother knew it and she loved it. My mother thrived off of being embarrassing. She got supply that way. She loved being embarrassing to herself and to me. My mother was an odd person to say the least. And everywhere she went I never wanted to go because I didn't want to be associated with her. She was that embarrassing. And I will say that part is gone. At least for the most part. Because there are some feelings of embarrassment that still come up from time to time. But did I feel a relief in that sense? Yes. Yes. I did. But, as strange as it sounds, was I sorry to see her go? Yes. Yes. I was. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I know there are some that would say good riddance. But I will tell you. When the last heartbeat happened in my mother's body, I had my hand on her hand. I told her I loved her. And I whispered in her ear that I forgave her. And I prayed to God selfishly. I know. That He take her soul and have mercy on it. And then I felt another sense of relief that it was now over and in God's hands. What happened to my mother's soul? It was and is up to God. Do I miss her? Well, many of us at times. And I'm sure you can relate. We make up fake scenarios in our mind of what we wanted our narcissist mother or father to be. Or what we wished them to be. Much like what we wanted our narcissist spouse to be. Maybe they bombed us and we tried to get that old person back. Yes. Now and then I will have a few of these make-believe scenarios go on in my mind. However, many days, I just live my life. And other days I pray for her soul. So I'm in the category of those that feel relief, sadness, and nothing. And then there's the other thing. Joy. And it's not why you might think. Joy, she doesn't have to live in the mentally screwed up hell she was living in. Not being able to love. And not being able to care. There are a few self-proclaimed narcissists out there that have said this is the worst feeling in the world, is to have no feeling. It drives them crazy, and that's why they go to the extreme the way they do. So I'm happy that journey is over and done with. But I'm sad at the same time. This is just my humble cartoon experience. Can any of you relate? I would like to know. Let's talk about it. With that said, I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.